I think so.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our admin meeting for Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. Annie, would you mind doing a bit of roll call so we know who all's here?
Sure. Andrew Chorney, Bradley Seaman, Carrie Powers, Chris Lounsbury, David Strohmeyer, Alicia Beckholz, Amy Bristow, Eric Dixon, Jason Emery, Kyla Lennox, Melissa Fisher, Violet Plummer, MCAT. 206, we have Commissioners Slotnick, Strohmeyer, and Vero. We have Brian West, Ann Hughes, Allison France, and myself, Annie Kathy.
I'm apparently in two places.
You are.
Somehow.
I'm so talented.
All right. Thank you very much. So do we have any public comment on items not on the agenda?
I have something.
We'll see.
So on Wednesday, Treasure County voted unanimously to join the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority, becoming county number 20. So there we go. We have more than a third of the counties in the state of Montana participating in this.
That's amazing. And in terms of contiguousness, it's there. You go,
We are contiguous, yes.
as a rail line must be. That's really good. Anything else?
Oh, excited that Tony Hatton is Rural School Teacher of the Year for the state of Montana. Way to go. Sunset School in Missoula County.
Awesome. Way to go. So I have one. I just want to kind of circle back here and be really clear and say that myself and my wife are proud partners in Clark Fork Organics, the farm that's associated with Corner Farm Village, a land decision that came up in the recent past. Really proud of this project. We are involved in what a lot of farms and ranches have to deal with in terms of succession planning. And this is how we are moving on to a next generation. We're also doing some, or being involved, will be involved in some permanent land preservation also that I'm really excited about. I wanted to talk just for a moment about how we came into this land and then what we did next. We'd been farming this property for probably close to 15 years. We've been in business farming for 30 years. And our landlord was a very kind person, and we had a great relationship with her. I told her if there was ever a time she wanted to sell, to let us know. I got a call on a Friday morning in the fall of 2019, and she said, yeah, I want to sell it, and this is the asking price. I said, great, we're good. We'll go to the bank, we'll nail this down. And she said, well, I really got to check with my realtor. I want to put it out on the market, but I want you guys to have it. That was a Friday morning. Sunday, around 4 p.m, I got a call from their realtor, and the price had gone up just about $200,000. In a bidding war. I think war's a bit strong, but a bidding battle. And we were given the opportunity to meet that price by 6 o'clock. So I had 2 hours. It was a sunny fall afternoon. I had a phone. So I sat on my back porch and I went through the list of people I know who are interested in ag land preservation and found a business partner who was willing to chime in on this. During that 48 hours, I never looked at what the zoning was. I didn't know that it was actually 2 parcels, not just one. Our entire goal at that point was to keep our business intact. There was no real thought toward the future other than making sure there was a future. After buying the land, we learned all kinds of interesting things about it, all kinds of good things about it. And because of our partners' involvement and us being at the time in our lives where we need to think about exit strategy, all that's involved in this decision that came before you around a zoning variance and a boundary line relocation came to be. So last October, I filled out a conflict of interest form outlining the fact that Corner Farm Village was going to go through a boundary line relocation process and potentially a zoning variance if the BLR was approved. I also told you guys about it. I told our attorneys about it. I told senior planning staff about it. I didn't go into any weedy detail. I just wanted to let everybody know I was involved. And I didn't go into any of the weeds on these things because I didn't at all want to prejudice your guys' decision making. I also told everyone that I wasn't going to be part of any of these meetings. I didn't want even my presence to prejudice this. I put all of my effort internally making sure that not only we obeyed the law, but that I didn't mess with the process, that this project was going to have to stand on its own or fall on its own. And I think that went really well. I wish that I had put the same amount of effort externally in telling the whole world that this was happening. And in that, it would have been better if I'd done that. I just wanted to say that all out loud.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess in terms of process, just something I'll throw into the mix here is that it's important to note that both the Planning and Zoning Commission that evaluated your proposal, Josh, or this proposal that came before us, and Juanita and I subjected this to the same identical level of scrutiny as every other land use proposal like this comes before us. And that includes applying the very same review criteria and ensuring that those criteria are met. And I should also note that on the substance of the proposal, no one voiced any concern or opposition to what was presented to us.
So it could be that given what happened, this may shine a light on some ways for us to improve. Hopefully, look towards you guys, would it be possible to make those conflict of interest documents readily available? I know everything we do is available, but kind of make them more readily available in the future. So anybody out there could look up, geez, what did Juan write in her conflict of interest form this year? Something like that possible to do. And do you think we could take the one that I filled out in October and link it easily, maybe on Voice or something like that, so anybody wants to could see it?
TikTok would be preferable.
TikTok would be great.
Yes, if only we could use it.
Yeah.
No, I think, oh, sorry, Brian.
I was just looking for eye contact with Brian.
Oh.
If I missed anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what, we've learned something here.
Yeah,
And
I feel like we
so
learned
this is
something.
an opportunity to do better in the future. And yeah, we should have announced at that meeting that you hadn't been physically present for any of the preliminary meetings and that you weren't there. And if you had been, you would have recused yourself. We could have done a better job.
And all of that is in that COI doc that we can link to. So everybody can see my written version of it in October of 2022.
Yep. We'll get that posted next time. Thank you.
Anybody, any questions? All right, let's move to the consent agenda because that's more exciting. Looks like we only have one item. Any interest in pulling this item out to talk about it further?
No, I've moved to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Wow. Look at that first item. Bradley.
I'm thinking maybe this could be in one motion, perhaps.
Yes, exactly. Before you, we did a slate of resolutions to cancel school and special district elections, and we've worked out this process to help maximize your time. So this will be a whole slate of different resolutions. You can have one motion on them. Candidate filing for special district elections for write-in candidates closed on the 27th earlier this week. So each of these special districts had less than or equal to the number of positions as candidates who had filed. So in each of these spots, every candidate will be elected by acclamation, and instead of running an election, we'll be canceling these elections. On May 2nd, we will be having a school and special district election. We will have an election for Seeley Lake Rural Fire District Director, for Lolo Community Council member, and a ballot issue for the creation of the Clinton Community Council. School districts also have additional time for candidate filing and to pass resolutions for levies as they're getting their funding over the next few weeks. But each of these other special districts, the filing period has closed. So each of these different special district elections can be canceled and those candidates can be elected by acclamation.
Bradley, for folks who may be listening and who aren't familiar with this, would you describe what being elected by acclamation means? Please.
And it is exactly this process where during candidate filing, the number of candidates who filed is the same number as the number of positions that were available. So for the Bonner Community Council Board, if the number of candidates who had filed were 2 and there were 2 positions, rather than going to an election, The election will be canceled and each of those candidates will be elected by acclamation, meaning that they don't go onto the ballot, but take the same position and duties.
And then we don't have to spend the money it takes to run an election.
Exactly. The cost of running these elections in each different district is pretty substantial, noting that you have to print ballots for every person in the district, mail them out, receive them and process them. And if there's only 2 candidates for 2 positions, it really doesn't make sense for the taxpayers.
Great. Well, way to be thrifty.
So here's a
Yep.
question, out of the current activity over in Helena, if the bill passes, that moves all elections to an even numbered year and it is not amended to avoid any retroactivity, would that basically throw all of this? I mean, nothing here would be actually happening and it would all be shoved into 2024?
I believe that's true. I might look to Chris to confirm.
Yeah, so commissioners, if that bill passes through, it wouldn't affect these folks in this election or any election that has been conducted before the bill is signed. But because of its retroactive date, it would, I don't remember what the retroactive applicability date is, but it would potentially apply to upcoming things such as the city's primary, as opposed to necessarily these elections that are happening right now and currently in process.
Okay,
Great.
I would move that we approve the resolutions.
Second,
All right, all in favor.
aye.
And thank you for the
Thank-
good explanations, Bradley.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bradley.
thanks so much, Bradley.
Is there
Anytime,
anybody
guys.
else like to ask Bradley about this? You're more than welcome to. Okay, Eric.
Good morning. Whenever we mention RSID number 8901 in Lola, we always think about the water system and the sewer system, but there are also 7 parks within that district that we're obligated to maintain. Historically, the RSID staff maintained those parks, but in recent years, we've lost part-time positions and just work at the water and sewer plants are a little more full-time. So last year we tried out a contracted service for maintaining those parks and it worked out well. The work was satisfactory and at a cost comparable to what our staffing levels had done. So we wanted to make this a little more long-term contract for our own time and for our contractor to not have to go through this every year. So we worked with Dave Wall and got a 3-year contract secured with, I believe, I forgot their name, Montana Maintenance. And it's a reasonable price, a little bit lower than what we paid last year, and that's locked in for the next 3 years. So we would recommend that this professional services agreement be approved.
I mean, this is a great price for 7 parks in 3
Oh
years.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Super good price.
Yeah, and that's May through September, so prime season, and yeah, it's a great service.
Wonderful. I'd move to approve the PSA with Montana Maintenance.
Second.
All right, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
That we have 2 county officials being thrifty.
Thrifty.
We like that. Way to save money, guys.
Thrifty, not cheap.
Yes. Not cheap. Who wants to be called cheap? Nobody, right?
No one answer that out there.
But being thrifty is a good thing. Okay. Any correspondence? All right, anything to, so on the legislative update, I'm putting on the spot, but would you mind even talking a moment about a bit about the bill Dave was referencing? And if you don't have the tip,
They don't
worry
have
about
it.
It's okay, that's fine.
Okay.
No worries.
I will say that we are barreling towards transmittal, which
Yay.
is tomorrow, and there are a lot of bills that we are tracking right now and trying to make sure that we are following up with our delegation on so that they know the county's position before they vote. So we are working on that pretty actively. If Chris is available and he can speak to it, he has a tendency to be able to keep all of this information in his brain pretty successfully because he may or may not be Kurt Cyborg. So I'll
And I-
give him that opportunity.
Okay. I know
Or
we brought it
are
up
there
because
like
Dave
buckets,
brought it
like
up.
imagine if someone is listening or wants to like check this recording out, like years from now or days from now, like are there buckets that we're interested in at the county that following? Buckets of bills that were,
Oh, yeah, pretty much any
Yeah.
bill that impacts how county government
Right.
operates. So the buckets really align with the departments at the county. So
Over
everything from environmental
32 buckets.
funding public roads to elections to zoning to planning to, I mean, our buckets are
many.
many
Yeah.
and varied, as is our plate.
Chris, do you have anything to say on this, the bill that Dave referenced earlier about changing the timing of elections?
Yeah, so I don't have anything necessarily more to, which I think is Senate Bill 420, if I remember right, but I could very well be wrong about the number because what I remember is what the bill does, not necessarily the number so well based on the short title. Because my cyborg brain is only part cyborg for that. But what I will say, we're obviously seeing all the elections bills this week as we head into transmittal. The other big bucket, there is a fair number of the land use bills again this week, and so we're seeing most of the changes that will happen to subdivision and platting and around land use, both on that front as well as the public health front of land use around sanitary, septic, and stormwater and those kinds of things. The other chunk that I was going to point out is this is also the week where a lot of the bills that have or have the potential to have an impact on our federally qualified health center, partnership health center, are also moving forward. So that includes, the continuation of Medicaid expansion, the full funding of Medicaid rates from the rate study, and those kinds of things. Those are also bills that will all move as we head into transmittal and have been either on agendas so far, or we anticipate in the next, little bit will be on an agenda either today or first thing tomorrow morning.
Chris was correct. It is Senate Bill 420.
All right, great. And it has nothing to do with marijuana.
And it doesn't this year.
There's an awful lot of bills that have something to do with marijuana.
I think House Bill 420 has to do with marijuana.
That's good.
Oh,
Not surprised.
okay.
Known for their humor over there. No. All right. Nothing else. I don't believe we have anything else. I think we're done. Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.